what's been on my mind. Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Farming Pastor's Wife. I'm so glad you're here. Today is going to be a fun video, and I'm super excited to revisit this dough and see if we can make a couple of different things out of it than what I've made in the past. So it's going to be fun. Hey, if you're new here, welcome to my kitchen, welcome to my farm. I am thrilled to have you here. If you're new here, I do mainly cooking, but I also do grocery hauls, day in the life of, farming videos, ministry videos, you name it, you'll get it right here on this channel. It's kind of just a lifestyle type channel. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'd love for you to hit subscribe, hit that bell notification, and be sure to give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Hey, and if you're not new, if you're one of my loyal all-time visitors, then welcome back. You guys know how much I love and appreciate you. Okay, so today we are going to let's see, it was back in January because I did it for Isaac's birthday. I did a New Orleans style meal, a Cajun meal, and we did beignets. So we are going to, I said then, I thought this dough would make an excellent donut, which basically that's what a beignet is a type of donut. And so we're going to actually make donuts with the holes in the middle and everything. We're going to make donuts today. And I thought we would try this dough as a yeast roll and just see how it turns out as a roll. It is a delicious, delicious, delicious dough. So we're going to get started. So don't go anywhere. I don't want you to miss anything. I will try to link this recipe down below. If I don't get it linked, I will try to add it. I'll try to type it out. But there's lots of steps. So hopefully I can just add the link so that you can click on the link and go right to it. So anyway, let me gather everything I need. I'll meet you back right here. Hey, and hopefully by the end of the video, I'll have some makeup on. The dough does have to chill for a couple hours at least. And so we're going to let it do its thing in the refrigerator, and then hopefully I can get ready for the day during that time. Well, guys, at this point, I began to have some technical difficulty as my mic was not working. So what I'm actually doing here is starting with 1.5 cups of hot water, just hot tap water right out of the tap. So that is where we're going to start with. Hopefully my mic will pick up later in the video, but for right now we're doing a voiceover. So to the hot water, I'm adding about 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. I'm explaining here that I always get asked if I use instant or rapid acting or the regular. You know, guys, I always use it interchangeably. I don't ever look to see what I'm grabbing. I have both, and I just use them both the same. But I do think this was instant, but you can definitely follow the recipe or just grab whichever you grab. To the water and yeast, I'm adding 2/3 cup of sugar. This is going to be a good sweet dough. So we're going to add 2/3 cup of just regular granulated sugar. Now I'm going to give this a whisk as soon as I find my whisk, and just let it sit and bubble and bloom for approximately 10 minutes, or just until I get everything else brought together. I really didn't time it. I just made sure it looked active before I poured it in. So I'm going to set that out of the way, and I'm going to get everything pulled around, and we're going to start our base in our stand mixer here. And we start with 2 eggs. These are farm fresh eggs that a friend of mine brought me to church, and so I always crack farm fresh eggs in a separate container, just to be sure, they smell okay, that nothing got missed. Anything can happen with farm fresh eggs. So I always double check just by putting them in a container and giving them a sniff. Those were absolutely gorgeous, beautiful eggs. So to the egg mixture, I'm going to add evaporated milk. Actually, 1 cup. I did decide here to check my recipe, and I was going to put the whole can, and then I did check the recipe, and it's 1 cup of evaporated milk. So we're just going to, oops, and I'm starting to add it to the wrong thing. Glad I caught myself. So we add that in with the eggs. And then to that, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of vanilla. We're also going to try this dough. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier or not, but we're also going to see if this makes a good yeast roll. So we're just going to beat that on low for a little bit. I'm going to kind of clean up everything and then bring everything around to my work side over there where I can see what's going on, and you guys can see the mixer. And I do have a paddle attachment in at this point. All right, I have it brought over here closer to me. And now I'm going to add just half of the flour at this point. Now I am using bread flour. That is what the recipe called for. But if you don't have bread flour, all-purpose will work. I just happen to always have bread flour on hand. I love to make bread, so I have all types of flour usually on hand. But I'm going to start with about 3 to 3.5 cups of the bread flour. And then we're going to change out our attachment. We're going to put the dough hook on in just a minute when I get this flour added in nicely. All right, I've added my 3rd cup. You did not see that, but I added my 3.5 cup. And now it's putting on the paddle attachment. And we're going to put our yeast mixture in. And I see there's a little bit of stuff left in the bottom, so I'm actually going to come around and grab a spatula to scrape that out. I don't want to leave any of that goodness, whether it be sugar or yeast or whatever. I definitely want to get it all incorporated in. So we're just going to scrape it right in. Guys, I apologize for my technical difficulty with my mic, but these things happen, and I'm so thankful I have the option to voiceover. I think I have realized at this point that my mic is not working, so that's why I'm no longer talking. It was definitely frustrating, but it's not anything we can't overcome. That's how I face life. When things come against you, you just adapt and overcome. And that's what we're doing. So now I'm going to add in the other half of the flour, which is another 3.5 cups of flour. And I just add that in slowly. And you want to watch the dough and watch it pull away from the side. That's when you know you've added enough flour, is once it kneads for a minute and it starts to clean off the bowl per se. I'm excited to see how this works as a yeast roll. And I'm waiting to add my other half. I'm going to let it mix for just a minute. All right, so I've brought you closer so you can see down into the pan, the bowl. I'll turn you down in just a second. I think my camera started recording before I was actually ready for it to record. But yeah, my mic and my camera has had a mind of its own this morning. There we go. And you see it's still around the sides of the bowl. But we're going to add some more flour in. And in just a minute, it's going to start cleaning that dough up off around the side of the bowl. I could see that the dough was coming up over my paddle attachment top, so I'll stop it in just a minute and clean it off. Here I am pulling it away from the top. I don't want it to come up and overflow the top of my dough hook. So I'm just pulling it back down, and it is a sticky dough. Remember how much sugar we've got in there. So I'm going to let it go for just a little bit longer. And to tell you the truth, I have forgotten an important step here, but I will correct it in just a minute. You can see it, the dough has pulled away from the side of the bowl. Okay, so at this point, I think we're done. I'm rinsing off my fingers, getting the dough off my fingers. I don't know why, because I'm fixing to stick my fingers right back in it. But anyway, I'm just going to clean the dough off the dough hook because I think we're finished at this point. However, guess what? We're not. But I'll figure it out soon enough. Give me just a minute and I will figure it out. I don't usually get worked up about things, but I think when my mic quit working, I was a little bit addled, you know, and so I kind of lost my groove. All right, so I'm going to wash the dough hook or put it in the sink, and I have realized that I forgot a very important ingredient. So we're going to fix that right now. Thank goodness I did not have the dough rolled out and frying before I realized it. So yes, we're going to add in 5 tablespoons of room temperature butter. I had totally forgot this step. But we're fixing it now. And you'll see that it wettens the dough a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is I may add in just a tad, like a tablespoon or 2 of flour, just to be sure the butter gets incorporated in the dough and it's just not spinning around on the outside of it. So that's what I did, and now we're going to just pull it off the dough hook, leave it right there in that bowl. I'm going to cover it with saran wrap, and we're going to stick it in the refrigerator for
a couple of hours. You can leave it as long as 24 hours. You can, I mean, it's a great thing to leave as long as you need to leave it. But today I'm trying to get this video done and out to you guys all in the same day. So we're going to leave it 2 to 3 hours. I'm going to get a little bit of housework done and maybe start in on a second video for tomorrow. But I'll see you back, and my mic will work when we come back.
Okay, everybody, I just got it out of the refrigerator and hopefully my mic is working now. And look how much this dough has risen. I want you to look at that. Is that not crazy? Okay, so we're going to come over here. We're going to pull this out best we can. I want to get every little bit out that I can. All right. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to, I've got some all-purpose flour out here on my bench, just a little bit, just to kind of bring it all together. Let me pull my sleeves up here. And I'm just kneading it just a little bit. It's a pretty firm dough already. And I'm actually going to cut some off for us to make some yeast rolls out of. I just want to try it. I don't know how they'll turn out, but we're going to try it and see. All right, and I'm just going to take this little square piece of dough and kind of pull it over and make a little purse, a little pocketbook out of it. And I have a greased pie plate here. It's not wanting to stay together very well. So I'll kind of do a little twisty twist on it. This one may make 2. Just doing a little twist. There we go. And then what we don't make, we'll just roll into this as for donuts. Now I have about maybe 5 to 6 cups of oil in a bowl, in a pot over there on the stove. I haven't turned it on yet. I probably should go ahead and do that. But I wanted to go ahead and get these rolls brought together. I'm just bringing the sides up into like a little dumpling, and then I'm just kind of twisting it to make it stay. All right, I can get all these in there. That'll be good. All right, guys, I'm going to finish doing this. I'll bring you back in just a second, and because I don't want this video to be too terribly long. All right, so here we have them. I'm going to set them over here to the side. I'm just going to put that piece of saran wrap I had over the dough in the refrigerator. I'm just going to lay that over them and let them rise, or proof, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, and so to this, we're going to, now, you know, this dough, I'm trying to make several things out of it. We know it makes great beignets, absolutely delicious beignets, and I have no doubt it's going to make great donuts. But I was wondering even about a loaf of bread, and we're trying yeast rolls, but I bet it would make a good loaf of bread too. So I am going to try to roll this out as thin as I can. It's going to take a little elbow grease, so I'll bring you back. I don't want to waste your time while I'm rolling out dough. Just turned the oil on, so I think what we're going to do is cut out a few of the donuts. And with this cutter, you're not only going to have donuts, but you're going to have a donut hole. Right there. So we're just going to lay them off to the side. And so now what I'm trying to decide is, do I try to make a loaf of bread out of that or just keep making donuts? I think the boys would appreciate the donuts. What do y'all think? Now I want to get my oil up to about 360, 350, 360, somewhere around there. All right. Now we just start over and roll again. So we're going to keep rolling out donuts. And I may put this dough in the freezer and give it a try to see how it does freezing and then getting it back out and rolling it into. This is a hard dough to roll out because it is very elastic, which is a good thing, but it is hard to get thin enough. So you just have to keep working. Sometimes you have to hold it back here with your other hand while this one rolls it out. You may have to stretch with your hands. That's okay, because you can even out stuff with your rolling pin after you get it stretched out some. But as you can see, it just wants to bounce right back to where it was. While we're waiting for our oil to get hot, this is powdered sugar. I'm going to add some heavy cream and vanilla and make a glaze for this one. And I'll do that later when we get them out of the oil. This one is just some cinnamon sugar I've mixed up together, so we can have some cinnamon and sugar ones. And then this is just powdered sugar, so we can have powdered sugar donuts. So those are the toppings I've chosen. You could by all means do chocolate. You could do all sorts of things. I also went ahead and preheated my oven for the yeast rolls. They're still rising. They're not ready or anything, but I wanted to go ahead and have the oven nice and hot when they do go in. So let me check the oil temperature. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. Got a little while to go though, so I'll bring you back once the oil gets hot enough. Let's drop some donuts, why don't we? I'm going to just kind of give them a little flatten before I put them in. All right. Hey guys, I gave them a nice flip. I want to leave them in as long as I can because I want the insides to be completely done. I don't want doughiness. Some of my beignets were too thick. That's actually why I flattened them down a little bit. Some of the beignets were a little bit too thick, and I think I had some doughiness on the inside of my beignets. We can take that out now. They look wonderful. Let me make room for them over here. All right, let's drop some more. Again, I'm going to flatten it just a little bit. I'm going to turn my oil down a little bit also. You want your oil to be hot enough to fry them, but not so hot that it just burns the outside and the inside remains doughy. So finding that happy medium, I would say around 350. And I've adjusted it. I have no idea what it's at now, but looking good, looking good. Whew. All right, let's get these out. And I did freeze that other bunch of dough because I thought the boys aren't going to be here tonight. So I thought I could save that dough. I don't know how it'll work, but we're going to try it. And sometime when they're here, make donuts with them. And I think that would be super fun. All right, so now we're going in with our last donut and our donut holes. Yeah, I think I'm going to drop those with this. All right. Yay! Look how pretty they look. so excited. We'll make our glaze. As soon as I get these out, we'll make our glaze and see how that turns out. And the donut holes are going to be hard for me to turn, so I'm just going to kind of keep flopping them around in the grease. Now, if you wanted these to be actually shaped like donut holes, like round, you could have taken your hand but I just left them so they're a little bit elongated. But that's okay. They're not going to taste any different. It won't take those as long to fry, so we'll get these out first. I'm going to go ahead and cut my oil off, and we'll get our last donut out. All right, look at here, y'all. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So let's go make our glaze, and then we'll get these ready. So all I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to throw in some vanilla. And some heavy cream. I'm going to get a spoon. I don't measure anything, as you can see. So if I need more powdered sugar, I can add it. If I need more heavy cream, I can add it. Which it looks like I'm going to need some more heavy cream. And then you can always add water. All right, I'm just going to get this mixed up. I'll bring you back and see if we need to add any water. I should have sifted my powdered sugar because I see some lumps and clumps, but that's okay. Let's see, how many donuts do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to add just a dash of water, not much. That was just one little squirt of water. I'm splattering it. Can y'all see me splattering it? Okay, let's get our donuts over here. Oh no! I get to lick my fingers now, right? That's good. So good. All right. All right, let's take this one. Let me get some parchment paper. All right. All right, you can't see what I'm doing. Hang tight. I've just dipped it really well in that glaze. All right, let's do a couple of the donut holes. Wonder if Isaac will come back. He's already been here once today for a taste test. I wonder if I can get him to come back. I bet for donuts I could. All right, let's do one more big donut in the glaze. And I'm just pushing it down. And then I'm going to flip it over. Oh, you know what would have been really good in here? Oh, man. I'll have to do that next time. Maple syrup. Oh, my goodness. Would that have not been delicious? All right, so let's take our just regular, let me rinse my hands. All right, so we're going to take just our regular powdered sugar. And I just like to do this when it's powdered sugar or the cinnamon sugar. Be sure I got the lid on good. Just kind of flip it around. I feel like that's the best way to get it coated. Maybe, if I can get the lid off. There we go. Beautiful. All right, let's do another one. And I'm going to do the same thing with the cinnamon sugar. I'll do one of those so you can see what it looks like. All right, let me do a cinnamon and sugar one, and then I'll finish them and we'll call Isaac and see if he will come do a taste test for us. I'm sure he won't say no. And we're going to do it the same way with the cinnamon and sugar. We're just going to put it down in here. Every Southerner has Cool Whip containers. All right, and I have 2 extra. What do we do with the 2 extra? All right, guys, I'm going to call Isaac. Going to get this one out. We're going to give Isaac a call. I'll set this one over there. I'm just going to roll these with my fingers. I may have put too much cinnamon in this. All right, let me call Isaac. We'll be right back. I sweet talked my Isaac into coming. So while we're waiting on him, I thought I'd go ahead and try a couple of the donut holes. Oh my goodness. Mmm. The dough's a little super chewy today. It wasn't that way when I made the beignets. I may have kneaded it too much. Mmm. Let's try a glazed one. But they're still, oh my goodness, so good. Yeah. That's so good, I can't stand it. Oh my goodness, that's good. All right, I'm gonna try the cinnamon sugar. That's probably my least favorite, only because it's not quite as sweet. Oh, but everything else, I mean, it's still good. Still delicious. So, now, I think I'm gonna go ahead. I haven't let them rise a lot, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and stick the yeast rolls in just so we can get them done. And I mean, they've risen some. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and let them go in. I don't know how it's gonna turn out as a yeast roll. It's iffy. We'll see. So let's stick them in. You know what I think I forgot to put in the dough? And I'm not even sure it's in the recipe, but I'm gonna miss it in the yeast rolls. And that's salt. Let me see if I missed it. I did, guys. I missed the salt. So it calls for 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And I know I will miss it in the yeast rolls, big time. I don't miss it in the donuts, but I do miss it in the, I'm sure I'll miss it in the yeast rolls. So let's just look at the texture of the yeast rolls, because I know they won't taste as well without the salt, but we'll know that that dough works good for a yeast roll if you add the salt in. And so, all right, well, let's wait for Isaac to come taste these donuts. So my poor Isaac can't get anything done because I've called him home twice today for a taste test. That's the cinnamon sugar one. Okay. Here's some glazed and powdered sugar and one cinnamon sugar over here. Okay. So which one you want to taste? Did I get a whole donut? Or yeah, whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. And that one I haven't put anything on yet. These are cinnamon sugar? Mm-hmm. Cinnamon sugar. It was my least favorite. I want some cinnamon sugar. I mean, go ahead if you, or try the little one. I mean, it was still good, still very good. It just happened to be my least favorite. Can I try glazed? Mm-hmm. Have a whole? Yeah, have a whole one. The glazed is delicious. I wish I'd have thought about putting maple syrup in it. What is it? It's vanilla and just powdered sugar and heavy cream. Mm. Show them the inside of the donut. Nice and fluffy. Oh, airy. Yes. Mm. That's delicious. Do you remember when I made your beignets? Mm. This is the same dough. Okay. I did make a mistake today, however. I forgot the salt. And I think salt would even make the donuts better, but definitely the yeast rolls. The yeast rolls, I guess I'm just going to test the texture of the yeast roll because I know they're not going to taste good without the salt in them. But these, there's so much sweetness on them, you know, you can. Fantastic. Fantastic. Do you want to try a powdered one? You need a napkin? Please. Thank you. You don't want to put that down? I'm finishing. I've had a super fun day making donuts, making dough, and just. How's sugar? It's so good. They're all good. All right, so I saved the other bit of dough, and I guess I'll do nothing but make donuts out of that because, like I said, I forgot the salt. All right, well, let me tell him thank you. I'll come back and talk to you guys, and we'll show you the yeast rolls when they come out of the oven. So the yeast rolls have come out of the oven, and they look absolutely gorgeous. Now, I'm going to just open one up. I might take a salt shaker and sprinkle it with salt and give it a taste. But I know without the salt, I have made this mistake before. And a yeast roll is disgusting if you forget the salt. But if you remember it, it can turn it into the most amazing thing in the world. So I'm going to try to cut one of these open. I can already tell you they are fluffy. So I just touched one. It is super fluffy. So hang tight. Well, let me get you turned down here. All right, here we go. Oh my goodness. Whew, it is hot. Oh, that looks delicious. All right, I know it's going to be terrible without salt. So just to mimic a little bit, this is not making up for the lack of salt, but we can sprinkle it with a little bit just to get an idea of what the flavor would be like. The texture, I can already tell you, is absolutely perfect. Y'all, that may be my Easter roll. Okay. I think I can knead in some salt into that other batch. That is absolutely amazing. So yes, I can tell you, yes, emphatically, it makes 3 things that we know of. It makes delicious beignets, it makes delicious donuts, and it makes wonderful yeast rolls. Just don't forget the salt. So, and it could possibly make a loaf of bread. But I'm not sure about that. But I don't see why not. So let's go in the den and we'll talk about it, and I'll say goodbye to y'all. Have you ever had just off days that nothing seems to go right? Today has been kind of one of those days for me that just nothing went quite right. Like my microphone didn't work. Then I forgot the salt. Oh my goodness. I don't know. But let me tell you, it's still delicious. Absolutely delicious. Now, I wouldn't serve those yeast rolls to anybody until I had fixed the dough and added salt into it. Absolutely, the salt in a yeast roll or a bread dough is so important. Now, you don't want to mix it with the yeast right up front because salt can kill the yeast, but you don't want to forget the salt. It would even make the donuts better had I remembered the salt. But the donuts are delicious even without it. The yeast rolls, however, you're going to need to have that salt. It's just a matter of fact. You're just going to need to have that salt. So, well, with that being said, everything turned out delicious. And the texture of those yeast rolls was unbelievable. I believe that is absolutely the closest I've ever come to the texture of a Texas Roadhouse yeast roll. It was so good. And me sprinkling the salt on it made a huge difference. I know it wouldn't be delicious without it, but if I had remembered the salt, I think that would have been a perfect yeast roll. So I will definitely be doing these again. Definitely. But I just wanted to tell you, hey, when you watch me, you watch real stuff. You watch mistakes, you watch microphones not working, you watch forgetting salt, you watch all kinds of things. And I'm glad for that because you can see that there's nothing to get worked up about. If I had to throw that dough out, so be it. You know, I mean, I hate to waste food. I hate to do that. But in the scheme of things, is it really that important? Had I been making this for a meal or for a dinner with people coming, what would I have done? You know what I would have done? I would have either tossed it, made them all into donuts, and just ran to the store and got some store-bought rolls. It's not the end of the world. In fact, on busy dinners, like Thanksgiving and Easter, I usually use store-bought rolls because I don't have time to make my own rolls. But hey, we're going to keep working with this dough because I bet this dough would make a wonderful yeast roll. I want to try it in the loaf of bread. So we're going to keep working with this dough, and I won't forget the salt next time. So I want to see how far or how many things I can make with this dough recipe because it is absolutely amazing. Just don't forget the salt. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching me. Thank you so much for joining in on my mistakes and a little laughter and whatnot. But you know what? No need to get worked up about it. Just keep going. Try again next time. Let's see, what's the old saying? Try again. I don't know. But the only failure is giving up. You haven't failed until you've given up. So don't give up. Just keep trying. Don't have to be on the same day. Give it a day or two and try again. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Remember, if the grease is hot enough, you can fry anything, even donuts. Bye, y'all.